Hello, everyone, and welcome. I was almost about to say, speaking of podcast, Jesus. Welcome to Intensive Treatment, where we talk about all things Arkham related. So, um, today we're going to be talking about Return to Arkham, the remaster of both Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. And also for this episode, we're going to talk about what our remake slash remaster would look like for each Arkham game, not just those two. So, yeah, this was actually an idea we recorded beforehand before we took our extended vacation from the podcast. But last time we split into two episodes as opposed to just combining all together. So, um, and you know what? It kind of seems more appropriate just having it be one gigantic episode. So, um, but yeah, we're just going to go through Return to Arkham, talk about our feelings about it. And yeah, so let's start with, or just, we'll start with the announcement and the kind of build up to the game. Now, I don't know how you first heard about it, but I remember when it leaked on the internet, like I want to say a week before the announcement, like on some German website for selling video games. It might have been like GameStop.
I think it was Italian GameStop that announced it, and that's how I heard about it too. It was all over Twitter. It was like World War III started.
Yeah, it was kind of nuts. People were excited, and then I want to say it was about a week, or it wasn't too long afterwards that the official announcement trailer came out, and all those hopes and dreams of excitement kind of slowly disintegrated when they first saw the graphic, and people were not happy about it.
No, it's just, well, look, the game, I mean, I know that people on my YouTube channel know my position on it, and it was, God, it was just a mess, and it was a disaster, and it was definitely not worth what we got. Like, I would have rather waited longer to get a good one than to get what we got. And it's a shame because the game went through some delay for a while because of the backlash, and it still didn't get any better at all. If anything, it actually got worse.
So after the announcement, it was delayed indefinitely, which some people were like, it's going to get the time it needs to, polish it up a bit and look great. Some people thought it was going to get canceled.
Oh my God, I remember that.
But lo and behold, I want to say, because the announcement was, I want to say, May or June of 2016. And then by the time the game actually came out, it was around the middle of October. So, I mean, when it came out, I remember people, some people thought it was better experience. Some people hated it. Some people were in the middle. I was one of those people. Maybe this was just because, it was new and, I didn't really think about it, but I'm like, oh yeah, like graphics are definitely better this time. And I realized now I was a fucking idiot.
No, I was in the same boat. I had like a honeymoon phase with the game where I would look at all the bad things and be like, well, the good things are way better though. Like it outweighs the bad. And when you look at it now, it's like everything is bad. There's like not really anything good about it. Apart from the only thing that I love about Arkham Asylum's remaster is the rain, because it wasn't in the original. And that's literally it. And the look of it on the cape. I think it's great. But that's literally it. The character models are just horrible. It looks like they were all made out of like clay animation, like figures. Especially Joker. He looks super artificial and fake. He literally looks like a toy clown.
He just looked like his action figure.
Right. So it was just a huge disappointment all around. And I remember, you probably remember this too. Remember when Salvage released a video and he was like, "The graphics are good. What are you talking about? It's so improved. And I was like, dude, you're on some type of drug, man. Like, there's no way.
I remember a lot of people were, when that trailer came in, it was like, oh, graphics don't matter. Like, who cares? Like, it's the same game, so who cares? But it's just like, yeah, I mean, for some games, sure, but graphics go a bit of a long way in appreciating it a whole lot more, and it just didn't cut it. Like,
No.
I mean, like when I look at it now, I like the rain effect. That's a nice detail that, it just kind of, they kind of blatantly ignored in the original version, because when you go into the hospital area, I forget the name of it, it's raining outside. You can see from the windows, right, and the lightning storm. It's it looks like a shit show outside, and then as soon as you go outside, nothing's happening.
It's like the middle of summer with nothing going on.
Yeah, just and even in the intro, it's raining. Like, it's like
it's pouring, actually. Yeah,
pouring rain, and it's one detail that I like that they added. And for rain effects, on the suit and everything, it looks good. Like for Batman. But character models are just horrible. They look like the original game. They look like wax, and it just looked even worse than that. I said this in my review, which I'm probably just going to be talking, like, a lot of my points are just going to be from for me, the best / worst character model is Batman.
Yeah.
It's the best because, it's the most detailed. I like the overall look of the suit, looks amazing, but the face ruins everything.
It's horrible.
It's terrible.
It's just, I mean, I remember somebody compared it to, like, Batman literally looks constipated.
Yeah.
And just terrible. And I don't know how you can even make a game look worse. Like, I don't know how you can do that. Because the original game looked so good and came out almost 10 years before that. And it looked great. And then they just ruined it. And, like, I remember when the trailer came out, textures were improved and stuff like that, but it's like textures is not a remaster. That's just a retexture. A remaster would have been start from the ground up and build around the game that was already there and make everything, elevate it all and make it better. And I think that can kind of segue into how we would remaster the games. Unless you want to go into Arkham City a little bit first and then talk about it.
Arkham City somehow looks worse than the Asylum remaster.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did it.
What gets me a lot about the City remaster too is they made the bat suit look so much worse.
Yes. Absolutely.
Like, what is it? Like, it doesn't even look like a suit anymore. It looks like there's some kind of plastic on his suit. Like, in the original, it looked like fabric cloth that was getting ripped up, and now it looks like it's just plastic. Like, it looks like a Hot Toys figure of Batman. That's exactly what I always compare it to, and it's really terrible. I think Batman again, but I don't even think he's the worst best. I think his is just the worst model in Arkham City. So bad. I don't see any redeemable qualities in that game with Batman's design. Ra's al Ghul looks worse. Mr. Freeze doesn't look horrible, but he looks pretty bad.
Penguin looks awful.
Oh god, he looks like he got hit by a train. Who else looks? And Joker's models. How do you screw up a Joker that looks sick? How do you screw that up? He just has a bunch of stuff on his face, and they managed to make that a mess.
He looks like a Deadpool if he didn't have the mask on.
Oh my god, you're right. See, now, oh god.
Another issue for me too, and I don't know how you would feel about this, but the games are just like, they turned up the brightness for both of them, like way too hard.
They did.
even on its lowest settings, that you turn the brightness down, it's still too fucking bright, and it just washes everything out, and it looks bad. Like,
yep. Especially for Asylum, it took away the atmosphere of that game completely.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it took one of my favorite things about the game and just fucking tarnished it.
Yep. And like, guys, that's basically what we're saying is Return to Arkham is trash, and there's really no redeemable qualities about it. And I only play it because it's on next gen. And I remember back in the day when the original ones were backwards compatible, and I always played those. And then they took them off, which they should have still had them on. And that's why I took my 360 out as well, so I could play the original Arkham games. So yeah, irredeemable. I'm sorry.
Yeah. If there's one thing that Return to Arkham has going for it is that they include all the DLC, which is whatever. They've done that for plenty of other releases beforehand, but they made the Joker multi-platform, which I appreciate.
Yeah, I was very happy about that. Because growing up, I had a 360 and not a PlayStation, and I could not. Yeah, I could not play as Joker, and Joker's not by any means like awesome to play with. He's a little clunky to play with, but
he's a fun distraction for for the least bit. But he's just there's nothing that's really like unique or special about him.
No, but he is fun to play with because he's Joker and he's a little wonky and crazy, and it's just fun, especially on stealth maps.
Yeah, honestly though, I like him more for combat than I do stealth.
No, you're right. He is better for combat. I just like it in stealth because it's like the loudest stealth ever. It's not even stealth. It's just Joker being Joker, but his combat is pretty good.
Yeah.
But no, so I agree. That was the only thing it had going for it, and man, it's just a shame that that's all it had because, and we'll get into this, is all the missed opportunities, and I think what a lot of Arkham fans would change about the games. And I think most of the things we're going to talk about it's pretty universal what everybody would change. Obviously, graphics need to change.
Yes,
without a doubt. Don't retexture the game and make it ultra bright so that you're like fooling our eyes to make it think it looks better. Keep the brightness the same, especially for Asylum, and make the graphics just pop more, make them more realistic. I mean, I think for 2009, the graphics were incredible, and Rocksteady was always on top of that because they used Unreal Engine, just modded the shit out of it.
Yeah.
And that was the great thing about them.
Yeah, they did. They took, they took the limited technology of like that and made it work to their advantages.
They're like the Beatles of comic book games. Like they just like expanded upon everything they had and used things that didn't really make sense at the time and just made it their own thing. And Rocksteady just, I mean, like you look at Arkham Knight and other games that came out in 2015 don't look anything like Arkham Knight.
No,
it's pretty crazy. So yeah, graphics need to change. What I would do is I would not change the brightness at all, and I would just. It's hard to say what it would actually look like because I don't know anything about changing graphics, but I just want it to be more realistic.
I just want them to keep, like, say they change the graphics. I just want them to keep the atmosphere, like the kind of dark gothic feeling of everything, like the disgusting look of the asylum. I want that intact. Like, I don't want it to be, realistic or, just, it's a fucking comic book. Like, it's not supposed to be like, it's not supposed to be Nolan realistic type shit. Like,
and you know what? I think I misworded it, and I found the right word is I don't want it to be realistic. I want them to amplify all of what Asylum got perfect in the first place.
Yeah,
I want them to just amplify it and like make it grittier. That's the great thing about Asylum is like I think Asylum can always get darker. if you wanted to make, not brightness wise, but make it more gothic, make it more freaky looking. Give us, one thing that they could have done was give us more Easter eggs. Make the games feel more connected to Arkham Knight and Arkham Origins. Add in things that were plot holes and make it so that they connect. And what I would love in a remaster is to make my remaster of Return to Arkham the definitive version of those two games, because they were that good, and story wise they would make sense. But yeah, so not realistic, but amplify it more. Give us what Rocksteady gave us so perfectly, and just make it that much more perfect, if you can even.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else would you do?
I changed the character models, like every single. Well, not so much with the main cast of characters like Batman and the villains and such. I'm more talking about like the NPC side characters, because all their models look pretty bad. Even between both versions, they're not great by any means. So maybe touch it up a bit. And even the thugs too. Like all of them are just basically like jacked, shirtless, like just men. Maybe change it up a little bit, like maybe give a little put some shirts on them, maybe just kind of scrunch them down a little bit with some of them, and stuff like that can go a long way.
I think go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, for Asylum specifically, because maybe put some more Easter eggs in, maybe some cut content. Like the one that sticks out in my head is there was supposed to be a sequence where you go through like a maze, and in the middle of it you find the Mad Hatter. I think that would have been pretty cool to add back in. Also another thing that's alternate costumes, like replaying a game in a different suit goes a long way, and I think that's compared to the other games, it really lacks in that. Like there's only one other costume in the fucking game, and you can't pick it for like story cutscenes and stuff. So maybe add a few costumes in there, and maybe a new game plus mode and stuff like that. Just something to feel kind of closer to the other games. So.
Real quick to add on to what you said about character models, I would say just they could have looked off of what Arkham City did, which was they actually gave them different body types. There was ripped thugs, there was skinny thugs, there was fat thugs. There was a bit of everything. And then there was like average thugs. They just kind of looked like a normal person. And you're right, all of them look the same. What gets me too is how Rocksteady always uses white dudes to voice black guys. In like for the thugs specifically, like you'll hear a guy and you'll be like, that is not there's no way. Like it's because you look at the cast and you're like, why are all of the black guys played by white guys? And I don't mean it as like a stereotype thing. They don't sound black. I don't mean it that way. I just mean like it doesn't sound like a thug for the white guys or the black guys, because they're all the same guy talking. You know what I mean? Like there's no differentiation.
It's like 3 different people voicing every thug in every game, and like
right.
I mean, the guys, they're really noticeable.
Right. So, like you hear the one white guy and you're like, oh, okay, that was cool. And then you hear the black guy next to him and you're like, is that not the same guy that I just heard, just kind of putting a different spin on the voice? So like give us more of a variety of how the thugs sound. And they kind of did that more in Arkham Knight, I think, but it was still, they kind of never changed it too much.
Oh yeah, speaking of Knight, and I mean, this is a change that kind of goes with every game. Have the gameplay kind of feel a little bit closer to what Knight felt like. Because I've said this before on plenty of occasions, but Arkham Knight, in terms of just overall improvements to say combat and stealth, is like the best in the series, and if the older games, if they decide to remake them and kind of emulate that, then control wise, I feel like it would definitely be like a better experience. Because Arkham Asylum, as much as I love Arkham Asylum, that game can feel stiff like at times.
Oh god, yeah.
So
the combat does not flow.
No, well, it doesn't flow.
Not like Arkham Knight.
As good as the other game, no. But I still enjoy the combat for what it is, and as simple as it is, like it still works rather well. But
yeah.
But yeah, I don't really have much else to say for Asylum. Do you?
Not really. No.
Should we just move on to City then?
Yeah, City seems like the place to go. Oh, you know what? Actually, really quick, I do want to add something. Give us the ability. If I were to remaster the game, I would so let you be able to do that side mission after the game where Two-Face is. What the hell was Two-Face doing? Was he robbing a bank? I don't remember exactly what happened.
Yeah. I think he's at the end of Asylum. He's like robbing a bank or something.
Yeah, he's doing something Two-Face would do, but I would let you do that. Like, I don't know. Like, I just think it would be kind of cool. But I mean, I don't know. I think it would be cool though, to kind of have as an option. But yeah, so that's all I would add.
Yeah, that'd be pretty neat. For Asylum, besides the points I made earlier with control and all that, maybe get some extra villains in there, like a couple extra side missions just to beef up the game is pretty beefy as is, but maybe a couple odd villains here and there just to spruce it up a little bit.
Yeah, because the only side mission we have is Riddler, so that was we all know how that ended. Don't even get anything.
Fucking tone his fucking side mission down. Jesus Christ.
I know. In Asylum or City?
In City. No, Asylum.
Yeah.
I have fun collecting the Riddler trophies and stuff in Asylum.
Yeah, because it's more like Easter eggy kind of like it's much more mysterious. City is just grindy. It's like horrible. It's like what is it? 404 trophies. I remember when you were doing those live streams of like collecting all of them in New Game Plus. I was like, this guy is never going to end.
I live streamed each grid of Riddler stuff, and like it was just like it wasn't even like I knew where everything was. I was just collecting them as I went along.
Right.
Yeah, the it's like 400 for Batman and then an extra 40 for Catwoman and such, and it's the worst part of the game for me. It's so terrible. So if you just like tone it down a little bit, like maybe go to like 250 instead of fucking like 400, that'll help.
Yeah.
Another thing too, I guess it brought up Catwoman, but I want her kind of missions to be optional, like just in a like you can enable them to be in the story or not, because I think when you're playing the story you're getting really into the Batman stuff, and then all of a sudden it just cuts and Catwoman shows up, and I mean her story doesn't really add anything at all.
No, not at all.
So I think say if you had the option to enable her missions within the story or not, like that would help, but yeah.
No, I agree. And like a lot of on 360, what I would do a lot of times so that I would avoid the Catwoman missions is I would just not download them while I was playing, because it just goes right through the Batman story.
Yeah.
So, and that's a shame, because that's the only downside of having all DLC built into the game of the remaster, is that you can't choose. And yeah, it would be great to be able to add that in of like, you can either have or not have Catwoman in the in the main story.
Yeah,
and I thought it was yeah,
they
I thought
do
it was
force you to play it, and it's like it's the most random points too, where they just kind of insert her levels in.
Yeah.
And
like if you're gonna give us a Catwoman story pack, like give us a story rather than just like random missions in between the actual game. Make her do something interesting or something. I don't know. And the one that kills it for me is how you have, after you beat the game, you have to be Catwoman and fight off Two-Face. That is the most blood rushing, blood boiling side mission I've ever played in any Arkham game.
It's the worst boss in the game.
Yeah, he just shoots you with a missile launcher. Like, what the hell, dude? And it takes forever to take him down. He has all these henchmen. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
But and Catwoman stealth is just not. I don't like her in stealth at all. She's not very good. So it makes it extra hard.
Yeah.
So that was complete downside.
Oh yeah, another thing too. Make Robin and Nightwing playable in the open world.
Yes. Oh, Nightwing would be so cool too, especially to see how he would interact with the world.
Yeah, because it's just it's a shame that they're relegated to just the challenge maps. Like,
right.
If you had certain points where you can switch between them, like that'd be pretty fun. You don't really need side missions for them, but just like the ability to play them in the open world would be like really fun. Like especially in Nightwing's case, because I'm like it's interesting to see like how he'd kind of traverse everything. So
yeah.
Other than that though, I don't really have much else for Arkham City. I don't know about
Me neither. There's really not much. I would just add on everything that we did with Asylum to City. Just amplify what made it great and just make it better. And just and also we talked about this in our suits videos. Give us a clean version of each suit after the game is done so that we can walk around in not a destroyed bat suit. But that's all I would say.
The best feature Arkham Knight brought was that.
Exactly.
So I guess we can move on to Origins. Honestly, I really got nothing. Like most of the points for City are pretty much the same for Origins.
I agree. The only thing about Origins that I didn't like was that you couldn't use the suits in the main story, which was stupid. It made no sense.
Yeah, that is weird. Because you got to beat the game first, and
right.
And the only
it would be awesome to fight Deathstroke in the long Halloween suit or something.
Yeah, or say you had like the Injustice suit or whatever, and one thing I wanted one thing I wanted to see come back for the games is kind of reactive suits. Like remember in Arkham City you use the Batman animated series suit, and then when you meet up with Robin, he's in his animated series suit, and Catwoman is in that. Like I would love to see that for say like Origins, like you fight Deathstroke and you're both in the Injustice outfits,
right?
Or something along those lines. I think that'd be pretty awesome. But,
me too.
And Deathstroke also playable in the open world. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And other than that, though, I really got nothing else.
No.
So. I don't know if you want to mention Blackgate at all, but
we can. But there's not much to remaster there, just considering it's a game that's not really meant for open world stuff. It's more of just a level game.
The only thing I would say you can really do with Blackgate is basically do like a complete overhaul. Like instead of making it like a 2D side scrolling type thing, just make it like all the other Arkham games. Like just rebuild it from the ground up with that.
I would
And
have loved that because the one thing in Blackgate that I loved was the opening sequence in Gotham. And to have the Arkham Origins suit with better graphics, Unreal Engine 4, and like maybe like Rocksteady's ability to mod their own graphics would be so cool to free roam in actual Gotham with the Arkham Origins Rogues Gallery and in that suit, and maybe drive the Batmobile. Because obviously we see that he starts building it in Arkham Origins. You can see it in the Batcave. So that'd be awesome.
But yeah, I don't really see much else to do with that game besides that. So just pull a Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories and completely remake the entire game.
Yeah.
In the traditional sense, but other than that, there's not really anything. Speaking of not really anything to talk about, Arkham Knight, because it's so recent, and there's like very few changes that I can really think of. Like if I had the choice to, I'd just cut battle mode completely. There's no point in being in the game.
I think most of the changes that I would make have nothing to do with the actual game mechanics. It's more of the story. I wouldn't really do much. I think the game is pretty flawless. The way that you move as Batman, the combat, the stealth, the gliding mechanics are great. Combat is, well, I already said combat, my bad. All the gadgets are awesome. There's not much I would change gameplay wise. I mean, everything has to do with the story with that game. That's the issue with that game.
Yeah, the story is just
a mess.
A fucking dumpster fire.
Yeah.
And I've said all this in my video. I pointed out pretty much everything that was wrong with it. So I don't want to
we don't even we don't even need to get into it because it's just we're gonna get angry Arkham fans here at the mistakes that could have been avoided from Rocksteady. That's all.
I paid my dues, so if you want to see what that is, go check out that video.
I will link it in the description.
But yeah, like story is definitely a huge change. The Batmobile, like the tank stuff, is just unnecessary. So if you cut it down by like 80%, that'd probably be a lot better. Side missions could use a bit of an overhaul. A lot of them are just kind of mundane, not really, memorable or anything. Stealth, while the mechanics are at its peak, the actual like stealth levels are just trash, and that could use an overhaul. Because literally you're just hiding grates the whole time. So
nothing there.
So but that's pretty much it for Night. It's just those, and more characters in the open world, like Azrael, Batgirl, all them. Like that'd be fun to travel around with. But
for sure,
I really got nothing for Night.
Me neither. I think that's going to conclude it.
I guess so.
Most of the beef of what the conversation is about is mostly with Asylum, because basically everything that you can use to make Asylum good, you would just reuse to make Arkham City good. So,
absolutely.
But I'm glad that we got this out of the way. So now people know what we think of the remasters. Not that we haven't publicly crapped on them before, but we've actually spoken. And now it's out in the universe, and hopefully Rocksteady hears it someday. And they'll remaster all 3 of their games without Virtuous. Knowing WB, they'll be like, oh, let's rehire Virtuous, do another remaster for Arkham. I'll be like, I'm not even buying it.
That was the one thing I was worried about when all those rumors were coming out about Arkham Knight remastered. If they get virtuous, then they're just gonna fuck it up again.
Like from the very beginning, it should have just been Rocksteady remastering their own games.
Yes,
But I do understand that they were working on Arkham VR and Arkham Knight DLC and stuff like that. And probably at that point they were about to start working on Suicide Squad. But still,
true.
I would have, like I said in the beginning of the video, I would have rather waited for a great remaster by Rocksteady than to have what we got.
Because like if you like they delayed indefinitely. They had all the time they needed just to polish it up and work on those things, but there were barely any changes. Like,
right.
So it just left to kind of like just an unpolished like mess. So but you know what? I'm glad we have this episode out now, because this is one of those things that we were talking about for months. There's like, if we ever do another episode of Intensive Treatment, it's like, man, like, do we put out the remaster videos? And
yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad we got that weight lifted off our shoulders, and we can just about other things now.
Yeah, we can go on with whatever Arkham holds for us now.
Yes.
This is out of the way.
I got nothing else. So should we just end the video?
Yeah, I think that's it for today.
All right. This was fun. Be sure to subscribe to Swifty's channel and my channel. I got a lot of fun videos and stuff, and other reviews too. If you're interested in checking out Arkham content, I have 5 reviews of all the Arkham games, all the main just stay locked up and stay insane.
Stay in intensive treatment, ladies and gentlemen. We will see you all. Yeah, we'll see you on the next one.